Law and Order Special Mutants Unit. Polaris is the new black, and hello, Clarisse. Hey, guys, we got another great episode of The Gifted here to talk about. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 2, RX.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
The animal. Trap, cause the mutant's full. The mutant's full. The page is new. Everybody's got a collar on you. All right, we are talking not about Orange is the New Black. We're talking about Polaris is the New Black because we are going to be breaking down episode 2 of The Gifted here on AfterBuzz TV for our after show, talking about episode 2 RX, which of course is a reference to them going to the hospital, the mutant hospital, and getting drugs and stuff for Clarisse, who is definitely
drugs that are needed.
She's going through some things right now, but before we get started, let me go ahead and introduce my amazing panel. We got me, we got Rick, we got Stephanie.
I thought you were going to call me Steve.
So then we got Michael. Guys, Stephanie, why don't we tell everyone where you can find each other?
Oh, I'm Steph Sabraw, and you can follow me at Steph Sabraw on IG and Twitter.
And you guys can find me on all social media at Rickhong, R-I-C-K-H-O-N-G.
You can find me online at One Youngster, which is ONEYOUNGSTA.
Rick, move your mic forward so we can hear you. But yeah, so very happy with the episode.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so refreshing to be covering a show that's awesome.
Yes.
That keeps moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we have like that.
Things happen.
Things happen, but like, you know, you have this storyline with Clarisse that's kind of like, you know, everything staying in the same place, but they use that as like an anchor to go to the other characters. So something's happening in terms of like action-wise, but then they're throwing in the story development with Polaris and Dean at the same time. Because if it was just a straight-up episode of Dean or a straight-up episode of Polaris, you'd be like, all right, this is either Orange is the New Black or Law and Order. Like, this is not X-Men. But like the way they interspersed the storylines was really good this episode. On the after show today, we're going to be breaking down those 3 storylines. We're going to be talking about kind of our predictions. We're also going to watch the New Mutants trailer as like a news and gossip thing, and we're going to talk about what we think of that because it looks pretty sick as well.
It's way different.
Oh yeah.
It's very different. If you haven't already, go watch it.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Also, if you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up on this video. It helps us keep us searchable. Go ahead and share this on Twitter with all your friends if they watch the show and they want somebody to talk to about it. And then also comment on the video after the broadcast is over because those comments save. The live chat doesn't necessarily save, but I do want to shout out Renji90998, CA1987, Ivan Soto, and ZSB Lou. I'll do a shout out a little bit later in the thing. Sorry guys, I'm not going to be reading the chat that much throughout it, but we got Michael Young watching
I'll
the
go
chat.
through, because Ivan actually has a question, but we can save that. Well, nah, we can't answer that really.
Seriously.
I was like, we can't really answer that. Sorry, Ivan, we can't really answer that, but we got love for you.
Got it. So, 3 storylines.
Yes.
Reed and Sentinels, Polaris and Jail. Yeah. And Clarisse and the whole Amy Acker family storyline kind of thing going on there.
Yes.
What would you guys like to break down first?
Let's go to jail first.
I was going to say
jail.
that.
Jail, and then we can get
Jail's
out
the
of
coolest
jail.
part. Jail is the coolest part.
Yeah.
Damn.
You wanted to do jail last?
No. I'm just saying, damn, this storyline was brutal. Like,
I did not think that they would be with normal
people.
Yeah, too, combined. That was the craziest scene. I did not know what was going to happen there.
The craziest scene for me was her kicking her in the stomach.
Yeah.
I was like, they showed
right.
that.
You're right.
They showed that.
I want to know how she knew she was pregnant because she's not showing. So who's
But that's the
snitching?
thing. That's the thing.
up
Is
in
she
the jail?
says, out of here you got power, but in here I have power.
Right.
True, yeah,
she's the red of the jail. If you're gonna bring it back to the Orange and New Black.
Yeah.
So she's like the one who kind of has the connections with the guards. I'm sure we're gonna see some Sons of Anarchy style scenes of like putting Polaris where she wants her. I don't think that table killed her.
No, definitely not.
But
No.
that table is very telling of how strong Polaris is, and can Polaris kind of keep using her powers to get her, I guess, tolerance up for that shock? Because if she can, then it's almost like not having the collar, and then then we get some real scenes.
So, like, while she's in the hole, I'm assuming nobody's watching her.
True.
So, like, I would like to see her use her powers to disable the collar. Because if she can angrily move a table, this thing's electric too. Like, why can't she angrily fidget with that? And what if she hides the fact that she can use her powers again?
Yeah.
So the collar still has the lights on and everything, but then we get this mutant underground in jail where she helps disable the collar of the other mutants and keeps under wraps.
That could
and then
be
there's a
very
huge
cool.
breakout. Because, like, I would hate to just see them use, what's Clarisse, Blink?
Yeah.
I'd hate to see
Blink.
them just use Blink to get her
portal.
out. Because
Yeah.
that would just disable all the character development we're getting in the prison. So if they can, like, cause a mutant uprising at the prison,
That would be great.
That would make this
Yeah.
storyline last 3 or 4 episodes, be interesting, be one of my favorite parts of the show.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see. Well, there were two things I liked about this episode. Was that in the front where she's trying to, like, she doesn't know what that neck brace is all about, so she's trying, and everybody starts laughing at her because it's like
Yeah.
clear, like everybody else is trying
Yeah.
it, like, so it's like, oh yeah, you're the new person here, so we're gonna laugh at you for trying to be dumbass. But then the next thing is like, yeah, I agree with you, Stephen, in terms of there are probably some really cool characters in that prison to where they could keep, like, exactly kill off 3 or 4 episodes, driving the story forward, and probably some interesting people that we can get introduced to.
I'd like to see people in the prison who have powers that don't have collars. In terms of, like,
Oh.
what if that girl
Okay.
who she hit the table with actually does have powers?
And she's in jail not because they knew she was a
Like she was in
mutant.
jail for something else, and they never knew she was a mutant.
Exactly.
That could be a very interesting piece to play with, especially when it comes to like an uprising or something like that, because that's pretty funny to see somebody walking around and it's like, hold up, you had powers all this time? What's wrong with you?
Or maybe just the opposite. Maybe they already know that she does, but she controls it, and that's why she controls the prison. Or
Oh, they let her have her powers to keep everyone in line.
Yep.
And then, for
Possibly.
in doing that, they, put some money on her books, give her extra snack cakes, like,
Snack cakes.
it's like-
I got it. Oh,
I did see the commercial for next week. It kind of, did you guys see that?
Yeah, I
it
watched
showed
it
her
on YouTube.
breaking through the door, right? So it'd be interesting if Polaris played a similar role, which she did with the underground kind of railroad in jail, because I feel like a lot of those girls had lost hope already. They
Yeah.
were like, stop,
Yeah.
don't do that. But she's
the
ready
bald
to.
girl that she saw,
Yeah.
you could tell she had given up.
Defeated, yeah.
She was done. She was just like, hey, I'm in jail, and this is where I'm going to be.
exactly. I think that scene was probably a dream sequence, though. I don't think they'd go guns blazing and break through the door already.
Oh, okay.
But, I could be wrong. They
I
might.
thought that
They
was
might
her.
accelerate this. And
Yeah, they might accelerate and say, hey, the jail's not really what we want
Yeah.
to deal with right now.
True.
But I don't know. Maybe she does need to get back to the brother, or is it the mutant
the
underground?
mutant underground, yeah.
I do want to say that throughout Emma Dumont's, the actress who plays Polaris, they really pulled off like the creepy as hell look with her.
Yeah.
Like a very like sexy
Yeah.
but like dangerous kind of femme
Yeah.
fatale look with her.
Yeah.
When she's in the shower and like the black stuff's coming out of her hair,
Yeah.
and then she's just walking around, she's got like those like eyes. Like I was really impressed. Like these are
Yeah.
honestly, for a TV show, I was not really expecting like to see people who kind of belong on the big screen.
Yeah.
And like from this, like she definitely belongs on the big screen.
she has like that Eva Green thing kind of going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
real
definitely.
sexiness about her.
Good point.
But
Yeah.
but she's like exotic too.
Full in character too. You don't think about what
Yeah.
she does outside. You're like, she's Polaris.
Yeah, that's a good thing. All of these people are like buying into this show, which helps it be really good. Now, real quick from the chat, Chaos 1312 said, "Crazy theory: could the Strucker kids actually be adopted?" I know we haven't gotten to the kids yet, but
I don't think so.
Do you? Okay, cool. Because maybe they were adopted from
I think they would have covered that already.
Okay, cool.
I don't
cool.
think they'd start a show on a shaky foundation like that. Or like,
Okay,
oh, by the way,
all right.
you're adopted. Like, I think that's weird. My theory was that we get introduced. We'll talk about it in Reed's storyline, but we get introduced to the mom, Reed's mom, who was also
Sharon Glass.
the mom in Burn Notice, which of
Yes.
course is the same creator, right?
Yeah, Matt Nix.
Matt Nix, which I love Burn Notice, and I like seeing Kobe Bell in this, and now seeing her is like, when I saw her on screen, I was like, oh my god, yes, because it
great.
starts with a 1 year previous, and you're like,
you're like, I don't know how this is gonna go.
And then as
you
soon
see
as she
it-
talks,
I was like, hey, it's almost like an old friend. You're like, hey, Hey, how you doing?
It's really cool that like there are characters or like actors that you see and you're just immediately like, all right, I'm in. Like it doesn't even matter who they're playing. You're like, I'm in. And she's the grouchy old mom again. It's awesome. But I think she might have powers because we were talking last week about the genes and how the parents don't have powers or whatever. But maybe it skips a generation or whatever it is. I just still think that there needs to be a way for both the kids to have these powers for the X gene to have made an appearance or something.
I mean, and we talked about this earlier too. That not on the show, but outside, that you don't bring like an actress of her caliber onto the show just to use it for an episode without some sort of purpose. So I do agree that clearly like they're getting their powers from somewhere. So if she's not the source of it, she probably knows. Maybe it's their grandfather, or some like a great grandfather.
He was brought up too quickly and about the bowling scene.
Yeah,
that was.
So they did bring that up for like 2 seconds, so that could be it. Like maybe went through and like the carry, one, skip the generation, and the kids are,
they're all gonna laugh at you.
Okay.
What do you think the power of the bald girl in prison is? Because we see two mutants in prison. We see Polaris. We see the bald girl with veins all over her skin.
Yeah.
And then we see a red-skinned, or is it green-skinned? I'm colorblind, so I couldn't really tell you. Woman also there.
I missed the third woman.
She was in the background at the scene where they're beating Polaris up.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know, but I feel like it's got to be something really cool. Please let it be something really cool. Like, I hope it's just not like, hey, I can like tell your future. Well, I don't know. If your future is bleak, that could be something kind of cool, especially with the way she looks. She looks very like she could bring like a foreboding kind of.
I feel like it's something to do with poison.
Oh.
She looks like a desert, the dry cracks, like dry skin or something. So I don't know if it has to do with like moisture or there's some sort of like reptilian lizard effect where she kind of might talk about your poison thing.
I was thinking, the skin was kind of like that or kind of earthquakey, I felt like.
What about like pufferfish?
Oh, that is poison too.
Yeah, well, because like the veins and stuff when they blow up or something like that, like the veins. I don't know. I'm interested to see. I really hope that we get. I mean, I don't think
different weird powers.
Yeah, I don't think they'd like introduce this character without.
Oh, we're gonna see her. We're gonna find out. Absolutely.
I'm assuming she'll be like recurring.
Yeah.
And we'll see her probably like once every 2 eps or something like that.
I think she'll become part of the underground because I think when Polaris breaks out, there's no way she's leaving these girls behind.
Nah.
So I think definitely we're gonna see more of her. The one thing that I'm just kind of like iffy about is again this episode. It's just the telekinesis stuff. Like we get introduced to the girl who's shaky at the beginning, and again she just like lets loose and like blows everybody away, and it's just telekinesis. So I really want them to really think about separating
some other
that.
powers.
Yeah, just at least like explaining what the powers are or something. Like she was vibrations, so maybe it's like vibrations or what caused it, whatever. But again, like I just really want some delineation between who does what.
Because right now it's more how they're using those powers. I noticed that the daughter will bring it together and the son pulls everything apart. And then Eclipse, everything's similar, but it's just the only difference right now is the way they're using it, the vehicle of how it's happening.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Michael, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Michael Balsamo in the chat says, nah, she's got super strength and hard skin like marble, hence the cracks. So I don't know if that's definitely spot on, but if it is, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, for her
the
to
girl
be
in the
like,
prison, right?
Yeah. The girl in the prison.
Okay.
I don't know. It looks more like veins than it did to like the marble. Am I wrong?
It's like cracks. Well, you and I think
I thought it was cracks.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but I mean that would be cool. Like if you try to hit her, it's like like a brick wall. That could be cool, especially since women don't usually get those type of powers. I mean, you have, Emma can turn diamond. You got She-Hulk. You got Rogue, sort of, but you don't really have women that are kind of like the Thing or something like that.
Yeah.
So that could be like a Colossus or something. So that would be kind of cool.
It's clobbering time.
Okay, so I think, does anyone else have anything to add with the jail story?
Nah, but nothing except I'm very excited to see how the jail politics play out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can we talk about like the scene where they're showering? No, okay. Keep going.
And the camera cuts away just a little too soon. Sorry. All right. So
Could this shower scene be representing some sort of change in Polaris at all? Because usually shower scenes and she's shedding her previous hair. Is it more
Well, you said that it was because like they wanted to go more to her character, like there were complaints last week.
Yeah, and then I also thought about it, and I think that was her when she was trying to be not as obvious in real outside world. So I think that was hair dye coming out.
The black hair dye was washing out so she could have the green hair.
You know, it's like in The Prisoner where, or The Fugitive, sorry, where like Harrison Ford like shaves his beard and he dyes his hair a little bit black, kind of the same thing. It's like to keep it a little bit more low key in case they are looking for her to say, okay, I'm gonna dye my hair black as opposed to having blatant green hair that sticks out.
Yeah, super green hair.
Yeah, better than super red hair with bad CGI. So. Sorry, Inhumans. Let's go.
We are not going there.
Haven't even tried to see it yet.
Let's
keep going.
Let's keep going at the same time.
Let's talk about Law and Order Special Dean Unit.
Oh my.
Dean is captured. We learned, like, for a second, like, did they get anyone else with that for the second when he's talking about, like, I can't feel my arms, like, savior? And he's like, no, that's an immobilization bullet. I'm like, oh, okay, so we're not going that route. I was like, am I going to see Stephen Moyer just in a wheelchair for the rest of the season?
Man.
Like,
I didn't even make that connection.
Man.
That would have explained his bad haircut in the pilot, but
was the haircut that bad?
no, I think they must have been trying to cover some of them because like or put some sort of weird wig on him. Because I was watching this episode, I'm like, finally his haircut's back to normal. Which there's always a lull between a pilot and then the second episode. So
they got me for a split second there, when then they're like, no, it's an immobilization bullet, which I always thought was like kind of cool. But basically, he's in the custody of Sentinel. My prediction was spot on last episode where I said that Kobe Bell says he was a father and everything. I'm like, I bet he like lost somebody to it. We find out that his character lost his son.
Yep.
Daughter.
Was it daughter?
Yeah.
Lost his daughter in the July 16th explosion, which they don't really go into. It's the event that kind of caused everything. And he's like, I don't know if it was a good mutant or a bad mutant that set off the explosion. All I know is that my daughter's dead, and it's because of mutants. So, again, like, we get actual character development and find out where their intentions are coming from. Nobody so far, except for the guy who just wanted to put a bullet in them last episode, nobody so far is just like straight up evil.
Yeah.
Everybody's acting on their own intentions.
And it seems like there are laws. There's have been laws like set up for how mutants are handled, which they showed like in the bowling scene, where he was like saying is like she didn't intentionally use her powers, but that's against the law.
That's what I really liked about, because I feel like with this show, what's so impressive is the amount of detail that's already in it. Having all those laws, you kind of think, I feel like they already all know what the laws and legislation are. Everyone has that idea, and it's making this storyline develop even further. And in a really cool way, and we saw it with the hospital too, when the insurance and everything.
Well, it's interesting because it's so on the nose about the current political state of affairs in the world, about people being blocked from the country and different things like that. And I'm not going to bring like political views into this, but like it is on the nose. But it's on the nose in such a way that it's still subtle, because you're siding with the mutants when you don't even realize it, in terms of like, okay, but you know, they are really dangerous. If you've seen Logan, like, that was the first time in a mutant movie that I've been like, they're really dangerous. Like, you're taking out entire cities, like, with your powers that you can't control. And now they do the same thing. Like, it was a very Logan-esque scene with Clarisse in this episode, losing control of her powers, and like the amount of people that could have been cut in half or dead or killed. Like, it's very scary. But then you look at these laws that are just so in favor of the government and safety at the expense of these human beings, and you're like, okay, well, who do I side with?
Yeah, and then you have those like different interests where, you know, they're like, hey, well, I'm pretty sure, and I mean, this is not to make any type of political statement, but usually in history, when the government of any country finds something, they're like, how can we weaponize this? So there's probably the DOD is like, they've probably got 30 or 40 mutants under the Pentagon somewhere, seeing, can we replicate this? Can we make...
Well, that's how the Sentinels are made.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, you have that part, and you have, like, you know, like who was talking about the event. And one thing that I liked about that is we answered a question, because we answered the question with Kobe, what happened, why is he kind of part of this, and then we asked or we revealed another story point of the blast.
Yeah.
You know, so we went back and talked about that again. So it's kind of like you answer a question and then you bring up another story point and you continue going. So it's good.
Yeah, but it's good because you're seeing both sides of the story in terms of like with what's going on now. Like if they just went all in on like, oh, it's terrible that they're closing off this and they're arresting the mutants or whatever, but you're also seeing that like there is a danger factor to it as well, where you're like, who do I side with? Because like, you know, the mutants are really, really dangerous, but at the same time they are humans and you're taking away rights of good ones at the same time. So like, how do you deal with this? And then he lists off these organizations. And even Reed like admits that, okay, the Brotherhood and the other ones aren't that good. They're like Devil May Cry, people got hurt. But no, this one's good. The Underground's good or whatever. But it's like, well, how do you decide what's good and bad? Because they're both breaking into hospitals and stealing medication. They're both setting off things that cut trucks in half that could very easily kill people. Like, you know, so they are playing... They're writing the show really smart here.
Yeah,
because it doesn't feel like you're getting stuff shoved down your throat one way or another.
And there is a flip side to that where it's like, they're breaking in and stealing supplies, but they have to because they're being shut out of these, you know. So it's
and they made that.
Yeah, so it's not like they're breaking into places just for fun.
Yeah,
you know, they're being
just to get drugs.
Yeah, they're being shut out of these public places, shut out of these, you know, situations and institutions. So they, you know, when you force people into a situation like, or if you force them into kind of sort of poverty, I guess.
It's like, what are you going to do? They just should just starve to death and die? Like, we talk about it in the scene between the mom and Eclipse in the truck where he's just like, I was 13. My parents kicked me out the next day. Like, it's just like, what am I supposed to do? I'm a 13-year-old kid. Am I supposed to not use these powers to get stuff? Like, how am I supposed to live? But continuing with Dean's storyline, so Dean, basically, Kobe's trying, sorry, I keep saying Kobe, I think his character's name is Jace.
It's Kobe in real life.
Kobe Bell is the actor.
I believe.
I keep calling him Kobe too.
I'm pretty sure it's Jace.
Hold on.
Jace is the agent.
Jace Turner, yep.
So Jace Turner keeps trying to get him to sell out the Underground and tell him where the hidden base was.
Yeah.
And then he's a prosecuting attorney, so Reed's kind of calling him on his bullcrap every step of the way, wanting an attorney. They're trying to label him as a terrorist and all that kind of stuff. They bring in his mom. All this is going on. Then he has the sudden realization that, like, Jace's job is the one on the line because he's the one who destroyed millions of dollars worth of Sentinels, not getting anything except one human guy.
Yeah.
Who is a prosecutor who it wouldn't hold up to. But I really liked this because, aside from the fact that it went with my prediction last week, of... Now we have the bargaining chip, which has, as I said, Reed is now working with Sentinel. Reed is now on a certain level working with Sentinel because he wants to save his family.
He kind of has to.
That's his anchor. His anchor is protecting his family. So now he's working with Sentinel to protect his family, just like Jace is working with Sentinel because his daughter was killed. But what this episode did a really great job of, because we're going to get into the Clarisse storyline, is it now, you know, his interaction with the Underground was so skin level that he's not loyal to them at all. Reed doesn't really have a reason to, like, screw over his family to help out Eclipse or help out Clarisse or help out Polaris. What he has a loyalty to is his family. But now what we have is we have Clarisse and the mom and all these people.
Yeah.
The mom has now become a center point in the Underground, and she is actually understanding them, and she has developed a loyalty to these people.
Kate has.
Yeah,
Kate has.
That hospital scene was really good for that moving her forward in terms of understanding what it's like to actually be a mutant.
So now you have the father who's doing everything to protect his family, and the mom is now in the mind space of bigger picture in terms of like, well, what about, it's our kids, but what about everybody else out there? So now you have this disconnect between the father and the mother where even if he tries to sell out the Underground, the mother's not going to go along with it, and neither are the kids because now the kids are partners with the Underground. True. So it's kind of cool. Within 2 episodes, they've already set up this dynamic.
Yeah. It's I don't know how he's going to, because he's got to know that the government is not going to hold up the deal. That's kind of a given. The government's they're gonna screw him the first chance they get. So he's got to know that, but they do have his mom.
Yeah.
I don't know if they haven't really outlined any other family, so I just say I guess the mom that's it. So he has to play like a long enough
game. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, to kind of like sort of let them get away, but then give them enough to not harm his mother. Unless, of course, his mom, like we were talking about, probably has powers and she's already doing something. Like, who knows? Her powers might be powers of suggestion to a certain degree. So maybe she's already laying that, that foundation, like, oh, I'm not, you don't have to worry about me, and then, kind of like putting them at ease to like let her go and do her thing. So who knows? Or
does he, or because he's been doing it for so long, even though his family is at peril, does he possibly believe in the system that much?
Okay.
Like just like the opposite in terms of, instead of being suspicious, he's like, no, if we cooperate. I do everything the way that I know how to be.
They'll trust us.
Yeah, it'll work out the way that it's supposed to work out.
He still thinks he's playing a fair game. He still thinks he's playing poker, and they're not rigging the deck. And that's the issue, is because even though he guessed Jace's goals and everything, and he still was like, okay, I got you now, I'll make a deal. And Jace is like, yeah, we'll make a deal. Jace knows that, like, it doesn't matter. Under the Securities Act, after the event in July, he could throw this guy away forever and not even care.
Yeah.
The only thing he cares about is getting them right now, so his job doesn't get on the line.
Yeah, because technically he could be in, it's similar to, well, I won't get political, but it's similar to another act that we have where you could technically keep someone in holding forever. So, I mean, and Jace knows that, and I guess he's leveraging that already. So, it's going to be an interesting game how they play that, and I like that we're, like you were saying, there's so much lore in the law that we can explore outside of just powers and fighting.
Obey the lore.
No, I mean, and just like how Sharon Gless, the grandmother, was introduced, we don't even know yet if there's a higher power above Jace yet.
Yeah.
In terms of like a character that,
there is
that
for
has,
sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, what the motivations of that he or she or it is.
I also think, what I hope, but I do think that there has to be a higher player for the mutants. And I think that there could be one either in the jail or in the government that's kind of playing both sides, but will be that, because they need someone, So I think that someone in a higher position could be in there working for them or going to connect with Reed.
Like in Steven's dream scenario of Patrick Stewart like coming in as a guest star.
Yeah, he's saving the day. Like,
I mean, I think there's a good chance that Mystique will be in this show.
But not Jennifer Lawrence.
Not Jennifer Lawrence, but I think we'll get a Mystique. It might be an older Mystique or something, but you need somebody with the ability to blend in that is a mutant.
Hey, wait, how about why not Rebecca Romaine? I'm sorry, is she Stamos? No, she's
I think it's just Romaine now.
Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah. That could be cool.
That would be cool. She would do TV. She would do TV. So if that's what you're thinking, I mean, that would be cool to see her.
I mean, you can't even make that statement anymore. Everyone will do TV now.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we're getting, like, the fact that we have, like, this cast is really good, but you look at some of these other shows.
Some people are saying, no. About what? Rebecca isn't bad. Rebecca's cool.
All right, well, you know what? We need January Jones in this one.
Now, Ivan Soto said, what about Reed's dad being the mutant? And maybe Reed never knew. Because is the mother on Reed's side or on Amy's side? It's not, her name isn't Amy, but her name
Kate.
Kate's side. Do we know which side?
It's Reed's mom. You don't react that way towards your mother-in-law typically. You still might, but
he's like, nah, throw it away.
I did see
it's like, checkmate. She's my mother-in-law.
I did see
she is a mutant. What's up, Anthony?
I did see like a villain mentioned in the live chat. They related Strucker to Baron Strucker, who is part of the MCU. Yeah, he's a supervillain who worked with Hydra, but people are saying that they don't believe they're going to go that route.
Yeah,
but
I don't
it's possible.
think
so. Well, we talked about last week whether or not they're going to include this in the universe for Logan or Days of Future Past or whatever. Apparently, none of them. This show is a completely separate universe. I think they're just using themes from all of them because, I mean, it's the same themes for any X-Men story.
Yeah, this is just like another Earth, like Earth 616. This is Earth, I don't know.
This is Earth 818.
Yeah.
Like Stargate.
818. Yeah.
Stargate Atlantis.
This is Earth Valley.
Yeah.
We're in the valley here in California. Earth SoCal.
I took the 405 to the 10.
Oh my God, Strucker, how did you get here? Well, I was down on the 405, and there was a traffic jam. Back to you, Bob. So yeah, we have those two storylines. Let's go ahead and bust into some craziness with Clarisse.
Hello, Clarisse.
Also, guys, if you guys are doing an X-Men themed costume or a gifted themed costume, please send them to us this year. We'll put them on the show. Next week is going to be the 22nd, but the 2 weeks from now is the 29th. And we'll give you guys a little shout out. Put your Twitter handle on a picture. We'll throw it up on the screen for you guys.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
And the best one will get applause from us. That's your
Morph
gift.
would be nice to see, Renji. Yeah, Morph would be cool.
Yeah.
I always loved Morph.
Oh, the two faces.
Yeah. The gray skin, the kind of jovial attitude that he had. I always, especially in Age of Apocalypse, which I know that's not the movie, the actual comic book series.
Yeah,
but,
the one that was good.
Yeah, the one that was good. But yeah, Morph was always kind of like a fun character. I liked him. Yeah,
I liked him in the
that would
cartoon.
be fun to have him.
You mean Worf? You're talking about Worf from Next Generation? Love Worf. Michael Dorner is great.
He's amazing.
I'm going to take this time real quick because we are about halfway through the show, or 3/4 away, whatever you want to call it, to shout out everybody who went to iTunes and rated and commented us on there.
Thank you.
Again, shout out to everyone who did the YouTube comments. I know Michael was commenting back or replying to you guys on YouTube, but on iTunes, I did tell you guys that if you gave us 5 stars, I would give you a shout out on the show, and I'm going to do that right now. No doubt, this panel is gifted. Aw, thank you. By Melissa Darnold. I'm loving this group of superfans line up for the panels. Stephen and Michael, I follow him from other shows, and I'm so glad to have them on this panel. Such a strong premiere, one of the best I've seen in a long time. Thanks for dissecting the show with me every week. Shout out to Broga Fox. Says, great show review. 5 stars. You guys did great. I hope this show continues so much better than another show. Cornelius Eugene Baker says, The Gifted. I can already tell I'm going to love this show. People rarely do the shows I do, so it's nice to have somebody to talk to about, even if it's sometimes you can't respond. And then this is Gifted, that 90s kid, says, love the show, keep it up. And again, the live chat, guys, thanks again for watching live. We got about 42 people watching live. We only have 14 thumbs up right now, so come on, guys, do your job.
Yeah, you got 2 thumbs, right?
Yeah, you got 2 of them, right? So shout out to Stephen Mansell, Zias Bilu, California 1987, Ivan Soto, Michael Balsamo, Zaytalk, Renji 90998, Daryl Lay, Stardrews in the chat. Shout out to Eric Henry. All these people who kind of follow us from show to show. It's great to see you guys on this show as well.
Definitely.
Thank you for watching. Again, please share the link with your friends. If you guys tag us in the tweets, we will retweet it, and we will say something if you guys tweeted us as well. I'm at Stephen Lemieux. She's at Steph Sabraw. He's at Rick Hong, and he's at One Youngster. Cool. So for the coolest, and they're not even holding back on the special effects budget, let's go ahead and talk about Clarisse.
Yes.
So we get to see what happens when a mutant loses control of her powers.
And that brings up the point about danger, like you brought up earlier.
Yeah, where this is just like Logan, where like what happens when somebody who's ultimately powerful can't control their powers? Like, do you put them down? Like, what do you do? So she overexerted herself getting everybody through that portal because it was apparently miles away, and she didn't even know if she could do it in the first place. She's freaking out, and she's opening this portal to this one road. Where do you guys think this road is? Because John mentions it later in the episode where he says, you kept opening a portal to this one road, stretch of highway. And he didn't ask her about it, but what are you guys' predictions on that?
I think it's an escape route. It was like a route, because if you saw, like, they had like all the people blockading it. Every time she opened it, there was like a blockade. So it must have been some sort of like escape route for her, that she was trying to get to the other side for somewhere, and she wasn't able to do it. And that's why she keeps kind of having these flashbacks of like, if I could only just get there, I could get to freedom.
Okay, cool. I was thinking that maybe it's something like a road or a path that she remembered from when she was young. Maybe with her parents, they used to take this road somewhere all the time, and that would kind of to freedom, kind of like represent safety to her.
Or happiness,
it's like, oh, we always went down this road to go to grandma's house, or we always went down this road to go to my favorite store or something, or my favorite restaurant, and she kind of like remembers that from, you know, when she was like 7 or something like that, and that it just kind of like triggered when she was in pain, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought I kind of was more on the negative route, because we don't know exactly where her, and a lot of with them, their families, the ties with them are shaky and negative. So I thought maybe it was when she just got her power, she might have opened up a portal there with her family and gotten in an accident or something like that. And it was
That's a good one too.
So a traumatic memory is that.
I think that's probably what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think that it's where she discovered her powers, and I think her powers might have killed her family.
Oh.
Because like you can tell that she's not in full control of them, and you saw what happened with the rubber chicken and things like that. Like I don't know if she had the capacity to transport 5 people at once when she did that. Maybe she only saved herself and her family still died. Like maybe she was in a car and she went through the portal and she disappeared from the car and her parents still ended up in a car accident. The other theory I have is that she can, instead of only blinking through space, I think maybe she can blink through time. My theory with that is, you know, I feel like with those cops and stuff like that, they would have immediately had Sentinel on that. They would have had more understanding of what was happening. They would have had SWAT immediately. They would have had a lot more precautions. So you're thinking maybe
she was blinking to the
past
10, 20, 30 years ago or something like that.
Well,
maybe not 30. She's not that
not
old.
that long, but like from when she activated her powers, maybe it was that day.
Oh.
Okay.
So
that's
like,
interesting. I didn't think about that because they still at the end of the episode were in the same underground place, right? They didn't fully evacuate.
No.
So that does make me think that that could be true because I feel like they would have located it by then. That was a long period of time.
Yeah. I mean, they do have the fear guy that keeps it kind of shrouded, but yeah, it does. I mean, at least with them being able to see in there long enough, they'll probably tell somebody, hey, it looks like an old, an old bank or something like that, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing with how they're treating mutants in the law enforcement already, they're opening fire. They shot Eclipse when he was just running away.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
They would have just had the SWAT team open fire when the portal opened.
You're right.
Like, I feel like there's no reason why they wouldn't have opened fire. They looked confused. They looked like they didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah.
So I really feel like she might have the power to go back in time or to go to different planes or something. I don't know. So, I mean, they might not go that route, but I'd like to see that because, like, it's kind of interesting to think about as to how her powers could play out in a season-wide arc if she could blink through time.
Or bend time a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know how they would work with that, but that could be very interesting, especially dealing with different laws or different politicians if they wanted to, and of course, assassinate one maybe. Or if they want to go back and save someone, the big accident, that could, we could technically go back and replay that accident again with them trying to stop it. There's tons of cool stuff you could do when you start messing around with it.
Let's do the time warp again.
But
time always is, I feel,
time
in
gets
any
weird.
magical movie,
once you start playing with time, it gets weird. Just guys,
it gets weird, but X-Men has always done it.
Yes,
always.
All right, I'm going to keep it real. From someone who has read comics all his life, I have not read every single one, but comics is convoluted, all right? So writers of this show, if you're planning on messing with time, just get like a set of people, story group or whatever, to just deal with the time, because it gets convoluted. Like once you go to space, and you have the Phoenix, and then people die, but they didn't really die, and they come back, and their son's here, and Cable, it gets crazy. So just have people that just do nothing but remember time.
Have it be simple. Yeah, I'm thinking, all I have in my mind right now is that damn Burning Love song. You ain't got time for time. You ain't got time for time. That's such a
Burning Love song.
Burning Love, yeah. It's a YouTube series by Ben Stiller. It's great. Makes fun of The Bachelor. So yeah, we get, the side story is Eclipse goes to the hospital, which is a mutant hospital, interestingly enough, with Kate. Is her name Kate?
Yeah. Kate Strucker.
Kate, and she's coming to terms with kind of how mutants are treated in this way. Her and the kids were so annoying at the beginning of this episode. I'm so sorry. I was like, shut the hell up. Like, where's my dad? Where's my dad? Where's my dad? It's like, bitch, you saw what happened to your dad.
She's dying for saving you.
Yeah,
here
like,
with me.
Make it about yourself, why don't ya?
The kid's like, I know, but where's my dad?
It's like, obviously we don't know. Like, she's dying. Shut the hell up. Yeah. And then the mom's like, where is he? Where is he? He's like, shut up. Like, holy crap. Like, did you not just like see what we were all just through? Like, breathe for a second, why don't you?
It's true. It's like we understand your dad's gone, but we have a more immediate threat right now. She's going, I don't know, catatonic or whatever you want to call it. I'm not a doctor. But anyway, I play one on TV.
How about like, damn, thanks for getting us out of there.
Yeah, thanks for getting us out of there with the roly-killy things.
Yeah, like, jeez. Oh, I don't know. Jeez. Oh, I don't know. Oh, jeez.
And safe in general, because they're where they're supposed to be in the beginning.
Yeah,
It's like, it's not like she just has a portal gun.
But one thing I do like is that they wrapped that up quickly. They didn't let the whining go on.
Yeah, it got wrapped up, but in the time I was like, it just made me disrespect the characters a little bit. Like, guys, come on, like
he tipped over into Zach land.
Like, freak out a little bit, but like don't freak out for like, don't ask the question 8 times. It's like, come on. Like, you think that they know where your dad is? Like, obviously he got left behind in a portal.
They were so patient with them.
Yeah. He was like, look, this is not the time. And I'm like, damn, you're not yelling. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be like, just
He should
get
just
out.
give him the Vulcan grip and be like, and then like tell the mom, be like, I'm sorry, but I'm tired. I can't do it right
If
now.
Polaris was there, they probably would have exploded.
Yeah.
Should have been like, all right, bye, Polar.
maybe we'll get introduced to mutant with power. Just has like, just quiets everybody.
It's like, did you just mute him? like, yeah.
In the criminal justice system, there are people who get left on one side of the portal, and the other people who get left on the other side of the portal. This is their story. God, yeah. So that was the one night I was like, God, guys, shut up.
I agree.
But yeah, so we're dealing with that. They decide to go to the hospital. She shows the bullet wound, and I liked the fact, like, it's annoying, but I like the fact that the doctor was like, it was basically racism, where he's like, oh, you got a bruise, like, this is domestic violence because he's a mutie.
Yeah.
If it was anyone else, it wouldn't matter. But it's
I don't know about racism, but just the fact that, like, when things look sketchy, it's just one of those things where they come in and maybe automatically assume.
But racism in terms of mutant or not.
Yeah.
He said everyone thinks it's cool to date a mutant until you get hurt.
Yeah, because if his reasoning was
because he implied that dating a mutant by itself is dangerous.
Yeah, and you're only doing it as, like, to be cool.
The taboo thing.
Yeah.
Because if she went in there with her husband and she had that bruise and she just said, oh, yeah, I just hurt myself, like, he wouldn't have thought twice. But she goes in here with this, like, gunshot wound, bleeding sunlight, Hispanic dude, and he's automatically like, domestic violence.
Like, domestic violence because he has light powers.
And he called the feds in, right? That was
Look. All right.
He called the police. He didn't call the feds.
All right, doctor. Well,
don't say that.
All right, okay, doctors,
Jesus.
snitch a little bit, but don't just snitch just because.
No,
All right.
I think it's their code of ethics that they can't.
Well, yeah, I forgot. If
it's suspected, they have to.
If it's a gunshot wound, they do have to report that. I forgot. Yeah, they do.
Well,
have to report.
if they suspect domestic violence, they have to report.
Yeah, they have. Okay, all right, but still, you're doing too much. All right.
Yeah.
Doctors, I'm done with you.
And now in my mind, all I have is Dayman, champion of the sun,
Nightman.
Flashlight.
It's like,
he can bring some light. Champion of warm hands.
It's like, oh, this is warm.
Silver duct tape.
Little icy hot right here on my shoulder.
It was pretty sick when she pulls it off and it like starts melting the window.
Yeah, that was cool.
I
was like, that's kind of sweet.
That
And you're
was
like,
smart
wait,
of
so
her.
it's cool though, because I think he's like resistant to fire then. He's resistant to high temperatures because his hands over that stuff fine.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that'll play into something later in that, like, if he has to run into a burning building or whatever not.
Yeah.
Or if we get a Human Torch character.
Yeah.
And what's cool is it's like you were talking about, like not on a different network that I've seen where the CGI isn't bad. The CGI is good.
Yeah.
It's believable, or like they're not sparing any cost, it seems, to put the CGI in this particular series.
The lens flare was kind of weird though on the collars. Like, it didn't just look like 2 lights; it looked like blurry lights with lens flare. And I was like, why are they doing that? Like, why are they paying more money just to do that?
Why are they paying more money just to do that?
Someone argued for that case. He's like, we need this. It's like,
It's probably a package, you know. It's just like, and for $2.99, we'll add an extra little like.
The light flare package.
yeah, the light flare package. Yeah, we're just gonna transpose this from Star Trek and put it on here. Nice.
Click and drag.
These collars are gonna be really nice.
Look what I can do with After Effects.
Just an intern,
Oh,
do
boy.
this.
Like, interns can handle this part, no problem.
Unpaid interns. There's like a credit, like collar light effects, like Jiminy Cricket, whatever the hell his name is.
All right.
Okay, so moving on. I don't know. I thought it was cool. The mother rushes back in there. She becomes the mom of the underground in a way. Like, everyone was somebody. I want to shout out somebody on Twitter. Andrew Fedge tweeted me. I've rewatched it and still love how the episode is basically how Mrs. Strucker adopted the entire underground and became Supermom.
And it's funny because once
That's a good tweet.
I was watching it and I was sitting there. I told my wife immediately once she like snapped into action. I was like, and she's just provided her value to the underground.
Yeah.
I was like, the second this, I was like, and she's just provided her value.
That's what you
because
were
we were talking about without powers, kind of where they're going to put themselves.
What's your value?
Yeah, and now she's going to be kind of like the nurse, kind of like I guess the shepherd of their pains and stuff.
That whole hospital scene was really, the drive there, getting there, leaving there was really cool for her character development.
And I liked her daughter too, how she just sprung into action with the portal. Like nobody had to ask her. She just got in there, got to work. I liked it. I was just like, she was like, oh, portal, I've got that. Bam, done. Well, I mean, it was a while, but I mean, she was
pretty casual about it. I was impressed.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if I have the right medicine, but then she knows exactly what to put into her veins, though. It's like, I got this.
In 2 seconds.
It's like, look, if she needed potassium, just get her a McDouble or something like that.
Wow.
Like,
McDouble.
God, McDonald's could have saved the day on this.
Here's some of that Szechuan sauce.
They were too bogged down with the crazy Rick and Morty fans dealing with the Szechuan sauce. We did get introduced to, I think it was Sage. Was it Sage? The redhead at the club that we don't know who the hell she is.
We don't know.
But apparently has a lot of power and is complaining a lot. Like, I don't know. If it is Sage, she's played by Haley Lovett. I think, does this look like... Here, sorry guys, I'm doing this live. Does that look like who it was?
I think so, but with red hair.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
I think it's Haley Lovett, and I think if it's Haley Lovett, the character's Sage, who in the comics has mental powers. How far that goes, I'm not that knowledgeable on it, but I think she's kind of probably somebody who started it with Polaris. I think she's probably the partner of Polaris, like building stuff together.
Seems like the secretary.
Another head honcho or something. I'd like to see. I'd like to just get introduced to more mutants. We got Shatter last weekend, and we got introduced to the Fear Dude this week, which was really cool. The Night Stalker guy, but he could cause fear around the compound.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
and
because she was like, "I'm so don't turn around." He was like, "Oh no, it's cool. We got a guy. We got a guy that does that."
Yeah, but like no, even shout out to like Amy for that acting. Was like suddenly like something. Because
it was out of
I was watching. I was like, "Whoa, what's going on? What's going on?"
I didn't know. I was like, "What's gonna happen?" I was like, "Mother's intuition," and I was like, "Oh no, that was a power."
It's the scary, the fear guy.
So that was really cool. Oh shoot, we are actually like out of time. I didn't even realize that. Really quick.
Hey, we're having a good time up here. That's why. Should we do predictions?
Yeah, we can do predictions really quick. Go ahead and
AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Let's just talk really quick, like 1-sentence prediction. Go ahead, Mike.
When the jail mutants and the mutant underground meet, they're not going to click as well as we think they may.
Okay, cool. Rick?
I think they brought in dry-skinned chick to... I think they brought her in to sacrifice herself to help Polaris get out.
We'll call her Hand Cream.
Yeah.
Hand Cream.
I think Polaris is going to get out or do some serious damage in jail next episode. That's what I look forward to, at least.
I think we're going to get... Reed is going to help Sentinel, and they're going to arrest another person, and they're going to end up in the same place as Polaris, and that's going to start the riots, because Polaris and them will help each other out. Because we'll give her somebody she knows in the backup, but it'll probably be somebody that they don't know is associated with her. We get one final scene that we have to talk about really quick, was the doctor looking into a factory explosion in Rio de Janeiro caused by 2 siblings who are blonde, white hair, or yellow hair, blue-eyed Aryan twins. Yeah. And basically wants to talk to Jace because about sibling mutants. Apparently the powers are amplified or something like that. I paused it to read the paper, but it only just gave a description of 2 blonde-haired, blue-eyed twins. Yeah. We don't have time to watch the New Mutants trailer. I'll put it in the description of the video if you guys want to check it out.
We can always talk about it next week, too. I mean, it's not going anywhere, right?
It is it's like a horror take on the X-Men franchise. It's really kind of cool.
It's the first X-Men trailer that's surprised me.
It's different. It's very different. We can talk about it next week, but Stephanie can watch it before then, too.
Yeah, I really want to watch it now. I didn't even know they dropped a new trailer.
In the meanwhile, where can we find you, Michael?
You can find me online at OneYoungsta, which is ONEYOUNGSTA, and on YouTube at NerdSoul, one word, NERDSOUL.
And you guys can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHONG.
You can find me on IG and Twitter at Steph Sabraw.
And Daryl says the redhead in Mutant Underground is not Haley Lovett. All right, Daryl. Well, thank you for that information.
Thanks, Big D.
I just wish they'd actually introduced these characters with names so we knew that. But anyway, you guys can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHNLEMIEUX. You can also see us on the South Park After Show Wednesdays at 10 with Miss Steph Sabraw here. We will be back next week, Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to discuss The Gifted, Season 1, Episode 3 next week. We'll see you guys then. Take care.
Later.
Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.